Yeah, I think this
But you
morning.
mix the times and dates.
Actually, we know each other. We live close to each other and we work together. And the context of the fire chat discussion is to have a real-world example of how to implement cutting-edge technology into something very useful. And so my friend and colleague, Dr. Abdullah, will basically share his point of view, his practice, and we will discuss about what is needed for better healthcare, what is needed to be more effective in prevention, and how technology can help without using buzzwords. How's that?
I appreciate that. So thank you very much that we are cooperating together, because in DRIP5 we started the patient journey first time with the life spin tests, these metabolome tests, and we appreciate that we can look very deep inside to all metabolome levels of the patient, and it's very accurate, very fast, and easy to use, direct to consumer, good example. The patients can apply to themselves and take the blood by themselves, and we are very happy with cooperating with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. But I think the question also is, but I know that you have a series of really great questions, so then I just let you move on. But to me, the question always is, why, right? Why do we need it? Do we need it at all, or is it just a gimmick, right? But those are the things I like to touch on, just to be a bit, let's say, provocative. But please, I think feel free to start now with your beautiful list.
With pleasure. Then in DRIP5, when we are saying to the patients, we are looking to the image of the blood, or MRI of the blood, an MRI of blood, then the patients are becoming aware of the tests. They are understanding it's not a normal blood test. We are looking more deep inside and the precise medical care we can give with these blood tests. And we are cooperating with doctors, clinics, and also health professionals in DRIP5. So easy to apply, easy to use in their practice, in their pharmacies, or in their daily life. So that's why sometimes the doctors are struggling with the results when they don't have information about what is the metabolomes. But when they understand what's metabolome and how they can use in their daily practice, then they become addicted to it.
But then if we zoom out and if we step back, basically, perhaps describe your mission as a physician, and also describe basically what you are
as a preventive side, you mean?
Exactly. I think this will be helpful to have a certain context set, because I think what you do is great, because, and unheard of 10 years ago, I think there's a great, excellent movement in healthcare towards more technology. And here I think it would be highly valuable if you describe to the audience also what your perspective is as a physician.
Yes, exactly. Normal school medicine, they're describing the medicine or medical approach to the patient is when they have problem, they're coming to the doctor. But then the doctor is giving some medical therapy or another therapies, and they are expecting to solve it. But normally this disease or illness or problem is occurring in many years, like 5 years or 7 years or 10 years, day by day it's going in their body, but they are not aware of this. They have some signs, they have some sometimes sub-temperature levels, they have some pains in some places, but the patient or the people are not aware of their body. And then accumulating this problem in this 5-10 years is happening in the end as a disease or as a problem, and they are waiting from the doctor such a magic pill or such a magical therapy. It can be cured in some months, but it must be prevented many years before, not like in some days or some months. So that's why our approach to the patients, our approach to our guests in DRIP5, we are trying to prevent everything before occurring as a disease or as an age illness.
That's, I think, a very important point, because when you are diagnosed as sick with legacy solutions, then it's really late to avoid the disease at all.
Yes,
then it's happened already. But now it's, I think, also interesting or important to describe the type of diseases actually we are looking at, right? We are looking at non-communicable diseases, which is ranging from latent inflammation to diabetes to cancer or to Alzheimer's, right? Those are all NCDs. And NCDs have obviously the big issue. It's a global skyrocketing rate increase, so it's a global society. It's a global societal problem. It causes social problems. It causes financial problems, health economics, and the vicious thing. So the really sinister aspect of the NCDs is they have a slowly creeping behavior. That means you can do your annual checkup if you want twice a year, but you will not see much. You will see that your
with normal blood test.
Exactly,
course,
right. So basically, when you do your normal legacy annual checkup, if you do it twice if you want, right?
Exactly.
You will not see much. You will see, or your physician will see, that the parameters are within range. Let's say you are fine, come back next year, or don't come back at all, you are fine.
That was our main goal.
And the issue is that those NCDs, or NCDs in general, have a creeping behavior. They're very slow at the beginning with only subtle changes. And it's about new methods to make those subtle changes better visible, accessible, also affordable, right? That's also where all those different pieces come together.
Yeah. For example, when we talk about triglyceride levels or some levels of in their blood, some lipoprotein levels, typically normal doctors are waiting until some level, and then they are giving statins or other things. But thanks for your tests, we can look more deeply about their sizes and about their how they are occurring in the blood veins, and then we can take more early actions. Even if it's in normal range, but the lipoproteins are bigger, then the patient must take before actions it's happening. So so much different patients we have. With your PET tests, we can look to liver, kidney, all the tests, all the organs. Can you describe them?
Yes.
Of course.
And here I think it may be helpful to explain what actually is happening, right? So basically, what's happening is we collect a blood sample, and actually I like to show things because it makes things more real. So that's basically a self-collection cartridge. You take this, you attach a tube, and you put this on your arm. Of course, you first unpack it, you attach it to your arm, and then within 5 minutes, you collect 1 milliliter of blood, which has clinical grade quality. That means then you can use it as a serum sample.
And you don't need any professional.
Exactly, right. You can do that at home, or you can do that in
clinic.
You can do it in a longevity clinic, right? You can do it in different, or in pharmacies. You can do it basically in different settings. And the purpose is to make the first mile better accessible, right? To lower the barrier to do something as a patient or as an empowered consumer. And now this blood sample then is being digitized. It's like performing an MRI scan of the blood sample. So instead of, and that's actually what we do, right? Instead of imaging body parts and then you see organs, we take an MRI scan of a blood sample, and then instead of organs, of course, we see small molecules. Those small molecules are constituents of the metabolism, right? And so some of them, some of you may have seen metabolic pathways at university, right? It's like, it looks like London's metro map, right? All the different channels.
Stations,
yes. I never take metro, I like cars anyway, but that's how I think it looks like. But basically, you see all those different things happening, and then we capture 250 biomarkers out of those blood samples, and it helps us to get a good overview of the overall health condition. It's like performing a full body assessment out of a blood sample. And Now, what do we see? Actually, half a year ago, a physician called me up at 8 a.m. in the morning. She said she had heard about what we are doing, and then she said, oh, and this was a great explanation. Since then, I used what she told me as an example. She told me that in a standard lab test, the parameters are not being set in context to each other. They are just looked at standalone parameter, and that's why you don't see much in terms of predictive value. In our case, we take those 250 parameters and put them into ratio to each other. That means when you see subtle changes in the metabolic pathways, then you see those changes. And this then causes
some alarm signals to the body, like
exactly right. And this then causes in our health report a certain score. So it's a score. We did a color coding because it's easier for
like
humans.
Traffic lamps.
Yeah, exactly right. It's a traffic light system, and we actually now have an update with the gradient, so you get a better idea. It's more like health is a continuum, but you see basically if your diabetes score or your liver kidney score is green, yellow, or red, which would be concerning, or inflammation, cardiovascular.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
what we observed is, if you have a combination of one of those elements with inflammation, there's always a deeper root cause happening. And we have in our first commercial partnerships with longevity clinics observed that also in real-world settings, whenever you have a consistent pattern of having an inflammation signal, yellow or red, in combination with another health segment, in combination, then it's something typically deeper underlying which needs to be addressed. But then again, that's also important from a legal reason. We don't tell person A, B, C has disease X, Y, Z.
But it's giving us a guide, because when I see this, and then I'm saying to the patient, let's look deeply more on this topic, and let's retry this test in 2 months or 8 weeks or 6 weeks. And also we are combining with normal blood tests to look more deeply. So it's giving very good opportunity for us as a pathway for the patient.
And it also gives you basically, because the market is taking off in the longevity clinics, but longevity clinics have also, of course, an association of luxury and expensive, right? So typically people think, oh, entry ticket is a $5,000 MRI scan, right?
Exactly.
That's for what people have in mind.
Yeah.
Now, the nice thing is, our test is
very affordable,
technically similar to an MRI scan because it gives you full body information, but 10 times less than an MRI scan.
Exactly.
And this makes it a nice entry level. And there was an earlier session this morning about health equity, right? This is where health equity comes into the game, that you have a solution which is affordable and accessible to larger population. Now, not to everyone, it's not a utopia, obviously, but at least something which is decently priced so that more and more people can afford it. And that's, I think, a very important progress.
Sorry, I'm calling this like if you want to pay like a one people dinner in Europe, like a four people one dinner, it's like around 100-200 euros. So if you do every quarter, every half a year, like a 1 dinner, 2 dinner price to your health, and then you have more deep insight about your actual status, actual fingerprint of your body. Then we can see the digital twin of you, and then we can see after 3 months, 6 months, how it's going, how it's like a declining or going up. So in the future, I think the longevity clinics will be changed as a general family practitioner clinics. So it must be low cost and accessible to everyone, and they need to be preventive before going to the general healthcare system.
Yeah, ultimately, on a population level, we actually conducted a clinical study in Madagascar, beginning of this year, because, to be honest, we wanted to be provocative to show that new tools based on software, based on AI solutions, can lower the cost of cutting-edge technologies in healthcare that you can even perform it in ultra-low resource regions, such as Madagascar.
And sustainable, of course.
And sustainable. And we have been looking actually at PCOS, because PCOS is a very important but widely neglected disease in the global south, affecting, it has a prevalence of up to 25%.
Maybe more.
But mainly in the global south, not in Europe, not in the US, and that's why it's not much in the, I would say, consciousness, right? Mm-hmm. And so the idea was, because PCOS manifestation is on a metabolic level, so the idea was, can we determine what are patterns of PCOS, and can we also understand what drives PCOS? For example, we are looking at things like insulin resistance. But what we learned is that in Madagascar, for example, the participants, the 1,500 participants in our study, mm-hmm. Most of them had been tested the first time in their life. Wow. So they never ever had a blood test before, right? And that's why maybe PCOS or any other disease, mm-hmm. Also, going back to health equity, it starts with the information about your own health status. If this information is not accessible, mm-hmm. that's a big issue.
And also, you tested your things like around more than 250,000 people, I think, or
we have actually now about 275,000 human profiles in our database.
Caucasian.
Well, important to us was first to have parity of biological sex, to have 50% woman, 50% men, because it's a huge shortcoming in the past pharma trials, for example. It was mainly about older men, right? Older mm-hmm. white men.
And I was impressed about the healthy or non-healthy population.
Exactly.
Also.
But step one first is to understand how does health look like in men and in women, and also what is obvious from common sense that a 20-year-old healthy woman has a different profile compared to a 60-year-old healthy male.
Exactly.
It's a common sense, but in many clinical studies in the past widely neglected, and that's how we started first to have a baseline for health, having parity of biological sex and age stratification, because only when you can understand what is the range, what's the continuum of mm-hmm. healthy, then you can make conclusions about when does it start to become pathological.
Yeah, it's very important. And I think when the global healthcare systems, when they start to use this, they will understand more effectively that the total healthcare cost will reduce just because of these tests. And it's like in our drip 5, we are planting for each patient a tree for our sustainability in Madagascar also. Mm-hmm. So every session, when they receive a therapy, we are planting a tree. So as a part of this journey, your tests don't need any chemicals. You are not using any hazardous materials. Yeah. So it's like a fully sustainable, and it can be applied all over the world without any new machine, and like just some special MRI is enough. Like an MRI is enough that you describe. It's like, as I understood from doctor side.
However, it's a new clinical modality. That means we spend a lot of time and energy on educating, informing physicians, healthcare providers, right? Because healthcare is, on one hand, in need of huge technology disruption. On the other hand, it's a highly conservative system.
We are, as a doctors, I can say, we are accepting a little bit harder the new information. So I was like a game changer in the school, in the university, in my life. So that's why I accepted very fast. Yeah. And you're right. It's very hard.
And so the skepticism of the physicians, I think, is on one hand legitimate. On the other hand, I think physicians also ask, what's in for me? Right? I mean, because if you have a new blood test, then for the physician, it may be just another $4 for collecting the blood sample. That means you always have to think how to build an incentive structure for the physician to use this test. And that's what we are doing is we have different go-to-market channels. And what we always like to do is to sell directly to physicians.
And also direct to customers.
For B2B price, or to pharmacies, and then the physicians or the healthcare providers, then they can put their own cost structure on top of it, because they also have to spend time in consulting the patient. Because even if your report shows you that your health is in perfect shape, you may ask why, right? And even for this, you need a consultation with your physician.
Even maybe not one time.
Yes.
Yeah, it was,
and that's very important.
And also, I wanted to add, like, to educate the doctors, not educate, but to be informed about doctors about these tests. I think it's like hands-on, like they need to use it, and they need to additionally use with normal blood test, and their belief and their trust is becoming more to the test and to themselves, to explain the patients, because it's the most hardest part for the doctor.
Yes.
If they don't know something, they're afraid to say that I don't know, I need to check.
And for example, whenever we have first-time users, or like physicians, like it's like you have been one of our first-time users, but then in general, for example, when a physician tells me, oh, he sees that we confirm his diabetes, or we confirm that he takes his GLP-1, or we confirm that he takes his statins, right? Mm-hmm. This is then nice, because it gives the physician the reassurance that what we see is real and reflects the phenotype of the health status.
And also the doctors are mainly asking for me when we are educating in our IV Academy, the Repify IV Academy, they're asking like how is comparing with the normal blood test? Like last time I asked you from the results, but they need to understand it's like the enzymatic test. It's totally different. Can you explain a little bit about this?
Yes,
like different benchmarks and how?
So basically, a legacy blood test is based on chemical steps with multiple pipetting steps in between. And that means you have error rates in those processes. Even if it's fully automated, you always get errors. That means that you get already instantly an error rate of 20%. And it takes time, it's tedious. And you don't get too many markers, typically about 20 or 30 from a standard annual checkup test, right? Mm-hmm. In our case, we don't do any chemistry, we only do physics. So we basically look at the physical properties of the molecules in a magnetic field, just like an MRI scan. And based on this, we determine at high accuracy the concentration. Why is this possible? Because physics without pipetting is always more precise. And we conducted, of course, all the benchmarking, and our error rates are between 3 to 10%, depending on what we are looking at exactly. And this, I think, is very important to show also to healthcare providers to build trust, because you cannot expect trust out of nothing. You just have to build the trust, because it's a new thing. And so basically explaining the steps, what is this, and we also, of course, we are a software company, we are an AI company, but I don't like black boxes, so I always explain what does our AI do. And our AI basically takes the concentration information of 250 biomarkers and puts them into relation to each other. It's a multi-relational approach, and then puts it into context of disease patterns, right? This is what we do. And this basically gives us those, compared to legacy solutions, superior results in assessing the health status, especially at the onset, early stage of chronic diseases.
And also, like when the patient is asking, like, okay, I'm paying this, or I need to pay this amount, but can I make it in another place, in Berlin, for example, in or Frankfurt clinics, or in other place? Can we make it in another place? I'm saying, yes, you can make it, but it will cost you like thousands of dollars in Mayo Clinic, in Harvard, in Charité.
That's a great point.
Like
for example, getting a lipoprotein, getting lipid particle sizes. The size information is very important to determine insulin resistance, to determine liver disease, everything, right? And in our case, it comes as part of the package. That's what our software does, right? So you don't need to go to legacy solutions where they charge you at least $500 for one of those markers.
For just one?
Yeah.
Yeah, not all of the 250.
So the aggregated value compared to legacy would be beyond $1,000, but our important aspect is not to become greedy, because we want to build this into mass market, and that's why information building the market, having sessions like this are very important to build
accessible
awareness
for everybody.
Yes.
It's very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your combining the first step in your company also. It was very good for us as a Germany.
It's fun. I think it's very important it's essential to find like-minded healthcare providers who share the vision and have also the willingness to establish a new technology, because it's a big deal, right? Because you have to spend time on first informing yourself and then informing the patients, being really convinced. So I highly appreciate that.
And also your knowledge, because you're applying this test is like almost in Singapore, Malaysia, like you're in everywhere in the world. You have some different study groups and ongoing tests. So it's giving us so much insights. Like it's also share of knowledge.
Yes,
yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. So we will be glad to have any questions or
from the audience
about metabolomes, or we can have.
Or if you want to test.
Yeah, we can test also. Pleasure.
I think you read my mind. So I'm based in the UK, and you've just fired so many things. So we need to chat after this as well.
Yeah, we should talk.
So like medical doctors, that's fine, but we as holistic therapists, one of my problems is that I don't have the scientific data I've got my pregnancy results, so I've got the physical results, but I don't have the scientific knowledge to back what is happening in the body.
She has an unbelievable story. Yesterday,
so yes, doctors are your target market, but also like holistic therapists.
Oh, sure, definitely, and that's what I include when I say healthcare providers. To me, it's a continuum of different, I would say, manifestations of the healthcare provider profession.
Yeah, not just doctors. We are applying this on the gyms. We are in everywhere.
Yeah.
It's direct to consumer. That's why our session is like this.
At the end of the day, it's a continuum from the informed, empowered consumer up to the
healthcare professional,
cancer treatment expert.
Yeah.
So how does it look? So I obviously get the test, give it to my client. Do I need to administer the actual blood test, or can my client administrate it? And then where does that blood go to get checked?
So both is possible, and so in the ideal world, UK before Brexit would have been very easy to send the sample to us to Germany. It's still possible, right? But we have to look at the paperwork.
Dripify UK is already open, so from the Dripify UK you can apply.
So basically, we have on one end a send-in business. So we have good lab capacities in southern Germany. Our preferred model is software as a service, but we see the necessity of making a send-in business available, because this is better suited for smaller and mid-sized healthcare provider institutions.
All right. So then the blood test has to be sent to a lab, and then you get the analysis.
Yeah, to southern Germany, close where Audi is, and then you get the results the next day.
All right. Do I get an Audi as well?
But they are improving every time, because when I asked, like, are you including this country? We are working this on going. So it depends on it's very flexible market, as I understand, about the tests and the scanners, because the scanners are not normal MRI scanners. It's like in normal MRI scanners, we are
it's being used in pharma industry. So those are
13 Tesla, I think.
It's like an MRI scanner with a 3 times stronger magnetic field. Actually, I'm highly interested also in finding laboratory partners in UK, so that you have it much better accessible. And again, it's a matter of time, to be honest. But we can still connect after the session, and it's still possible to ship samples to Germany, obviously.
Because you don't need any cold chain, you don't need any for the small blood
It would need some sort of an express mail that you receive within 3 days.
All right, well then
and
that's
the results
accessible.
they're sending in 24 hours almost to us, like very fast.
That's the easy part.
Oh, wow.
So
Right.
you are giving the test, and the patient is like simply you are giving the test. The patient is sticking this to his arm or her arm, and then waiting 5 minutes. The blood is coming by itself, and then closing the tube, putting to the post, and sending to the lab. And you are connecting to the Dripify platform, and you are getting the results. That's all.
Thank you. That's simplified what I wanted to understand the customer journey. But thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And then again, it's work in progress, right? Things will get better from time to time. We are just in the process of launching a new report, which is more intuitive to understand, because there's so much information, so much deep health insights, which we have to condense, that on one end it's understandable and useful, because you want the patients use it typically repeatedly, not only once, because then you can see the trending, and the trending is highly insightful.
And also the results is like when you make the 250 parameters, even I was struggling in the beginning, because it's like a 40 page almost, like 30 pages.
There are different formats how to summarize it. It depends on the user preference. So we basically build custom reports, because some health institutions, they want to have it very epic, and some want it more
summarized.
Half page, one table, right? Depends. But at the end of the day, the statement condense is the same.
But as a customer experience, you can say easily you have infection, like from your side, holistic side, you have infection, and you have kidney on a
Inflammation.
Inflammation, and then on the kidney, yellow, some marker. So we need to focus on kidney and inflammation together. You can easily say it, like can I say it? Yeah?
And the inflammation is the key thing, because the inflammation we are looking at is not the CRP which you get from an acute infection. The inflammation we are looking at is the systemic inflammation,
Silent.
which typically has a deeper root cause in the health.
Right. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for the questions. I actually want to ask, because you said there are 12 markers, if I understood correctly, that you can diagnose, that you look at, but you're saying the report is going to become more expansive?
Intuitive, yeah, and more expensive. But first, just to put it into the right context, we do not diagnose specific diseases for many different reasons.
Exactly.
We assess the health status. It's like an MRI scan. When you get an MRI scan from your body, then you may see, or hopefully not see, some structures, which then your physician can interpret what type of disease it may be, and then you have a downstream diagnostics, right? Mm-hmm. We basically provide the overview information. Why do we do that? For regulatory reasons, because it's a crazy beast to deal with that. And that's why we say, we do the high-level overall assessment, which has still a very high value.
No, absolutely. And my curiosity here is, after you do that, who are you partnering with in terms of doctors or physicians or nutritionists to help elevate the patient's care?
Yeah. So we are building a network of early adopters, which are typically healthcare providers which have interest in innovation and cutting-edge technologies, such as Dr. Abdullah's practice. So basically, we work with practice at different sizes. We have also agreements with very large hospital systems in Asia, predominantly private payer systems. They are a bit more open-minded.
University hospitals also in Turkey.
Yeah, and so it depends pretty much, right? But important is that they must understand what we are doing, because we don't like the black box thinking. It needs to be highly transparent of what is happening and what it is being used for, because this is extremely important for the trust building.
Okay, and one last question in here. How are you protecting the patient's data? Because especially when it comes to blood and their health. So how is that protected through your programs?
First of all, our service in Germany.
I love it. It's very hard. Even we cannot open with the passports.
So our service in Germany, in Frankfurt. And so with that, the data are in the European Union. Second is the reports are fully pseudonymized. And then when you receive your report, it's password protected. Sometimes my business friends send me their blood, then they ask me, oh, can you tell me how my result is? I said, no, I cannot tell you. You have to send it to me through WhatsApp if you want to have my opinion. But I don't have access to that, and I don't want access.
Okay.
All the system built on this GDPR rules, like very strict.
That's right. So basically, cybersecurity, privacy, GDPR, and data sovereignty. That's extremely important.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
I think
We are
it's a
over time.
mid-time break to
Any further questions?
It's 10:30. So sorry.
All right.
Mixed all.
They may charge us more now.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And it was a great one-on-one discussion. And if any questions, they'll be around.
Yes.
Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you
You
very
can
much.
find me easily. Yeah.
Teşekkür ederim. Çok sağ olun.